On September 22, 2010, Robert Marquez was one of the recipients of the 11th Annual McDonald's Hispanos Triunfadores Award. The award honors philanthropic contribution to the El Paso and Las Cruces community. For Marquez, his journey to philanthropy was hard-earned, coming from humble and at times tragic beginnings. We journeyed through his hometown of Deming, New Mexico, where he showed me some of the notable places of his childhood, where he worked, where he slept, and what it all looks like today.
This is where our house was, and you could see it kind of makes an L. Actually made like a Z. One of the reasons that kids like to come here to our house is we had a big yard. You could see that big yard right there. So we'd play all kinds of games back in our yard.
After his parents divorced, his father left the family, followed by his mother. Marquez was left to raise his younger siblings. Here, he shares a story of two men who showed up to his door one rainy afternoon.
Two guys showed up at our door, and they were really hungry. And not only were they hungry, but they needed a place to stay, and they had gone to the church. And they asked for help over there, see if they could help them with a meal or something. And I guess, I don't know who told them, but somebody told them over there that maybe if they came to this house, they could get some help. One of them, who seemed to be sort of the leader of the two guys, and we talked and talked all night, and I didn't want to keep my eyes off him because my sister, my younger brothers were in these other rooms. I started, just sharing my life story with the guy, and the guy broke into tears. And he said, they had just gotten released from prison. They had lived most of their lives in prison, both of them. He says, and I was about ready to give up and go commit crimes just so I could go back in. That's the only life I've ever known. And I don't think I can make it out here. He says, but I'm seeing you guys as little as you are, and you're making it. What's our problem? We got, we're strong men. What's our problem?
Marquez brought me to the old Deming Armory to show me one of the places he used to sleep when he was kicked out of his house and forced to live on the streets.
One of the things that you have to do is you have to climb over this. This was closed. Right? As a kid, I could easily climb over this. And I would sleep up there, and if the cops or somebody was coming by and I could sense them, what I would do is I would hide into these dark corners in this area. And the other place that I used to sleep was right under here, and you'll see it had two identical openings on each side, and the openings were like this. There was an arch, and then there was like a fence like this. And through that arch, that's where I used to climb in, but the space was only about that big, where a kid could crawl easy, but an adult would have a difficult time. So when I was really scared, that's where I would climb in, so that if somebody were to come to try to hassle me, I could always go out the other end. I could go out either end. There had to be several people to try to harm me, not that they would, but if there was, I could always have an escape.
Marquez then took me to Frank's barbershop, where he used to shine shoes as a boy. There, he found his old shoe shine stand still intact.
Well, I started out, that's where I started, was going into the bars with a shoe shine box.
Yeah.
This was a class act when I came here.
Yeah.
This was a class act. This was high class. I used to have my white smock. When I shined shoes here, it was totally professional.
Yeah.
Marquez met up with childhood friend Fernando Barrio, the shop's current owner, and reminisced about his father, Frank Kiko Barrio.
That was Kiko Barrio, and him. That guy got me a lot of good jobs, and he always took good care of me, and there was a bunch of us kids, and we worked here. We cleaned the shop for him, we shined shoes. I mean, just really a class act. He always treated us very, very good, gave us a lot of really good advice in life.
We strolled through downtown Deming, where he shared the history of all the businesses that once were. He reflected on the benefits of growing up in a small town and how his environment had a major impact on his success.
At that time, you kind of knew everybody, and everybody knew each other. Everybody looked out for one another, and you kind of knew different. And once you go to a city where you don't know people, you come from a small city, you're usually very friendly, and you get taken advantage of a lot. Come from a small town, everybody's friendly. how to treat each other, and you know that their sincerity. You know, you're not gonna say something if you don't mean it. Having lots of sunshine. This is one of the things that I've noticed. And I missed it when I was up in Idaho and even in Colorado. When you have a lot of sun, you're very optimistic, and you can always think, hey, well, you know what? We can deal with that tomorrow. We can solve that problem. It's not a problem. You know, it's a problem right now, but we can deal with it. But if you're always in an environment that's always kind of gloomy and dark, you have a different outlook on life. And that's what being a desert person or a person where there's a lot of sunshine, that's what it teaches you. You know, you can solve a lot of problems. You just got to get after it and go to work and